Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Cancer Support Community Central Ohio's Lunchtime Learning. I'm Darlene, the program manager here, and the presentation we're doing today is through our headquarters. Our Frankly Speaking About Education is our landmark education series, and today's session, Living with Uncertainty, has come through our headquarters. So as I had mentioned earlier, anytime you have a question, please feel free to ask that, and we will go ahead and get started. Okay. So hopefully everybody is familiar with our mission of Cancer Support Community, that we exist to ensure that all people impacted by cancer are empowered by knowledge, strengthened by action, and sustained by community. All of our programs fit to meet that mission. And these are the topics we're going to be talking about today under this session of Living with Uncertainty. We'll be talking about change in cancer, common challenges and worries, mental health and cancer, acknowledging the known and the unknown. What's next? And then if we have time, I'll talk about cancer support resources. So uncertainty, while we may not wish to acknowledge it, uncertainty is a natural and unavoidable part of life. Very little about our lives is constant or totally certain, and life can change very quickly and unpredictably. So our first part in here is the change in cancer. And I know that a lot of you are cancer survivors. Some of you are caregivers. Some of you have lost loved ones to cancer. The three biggies that a diagnosis will bring change to includes the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual. And so as we're looking at the physical changes will vary from person to person, and the extent of the physical changes will vary as well. Some may not experience any physical changes. One of the support groups that I work with is our breast cancer support group. And we have ladies in there who, through their chemo treatment, never lost their hair. We have some who've completely lost their hair. Some have lost some of their hair. Some have grown it back, and it comes back very straight where they were curly, or it was very curly and comes back straight, or it comes back sparsely. And so it really is unique and individual to the person of how these physical changes happen during the cancer journey. Emotional, as you can see that cancer, as we mentioned in the previous slide, affects us emotionally as well as physically. Just feelings of overwhelmed. I talk to a lot of cancer survivors, and they're like, I get the cancer diagnosis, then it's this test and that test and this test and this procedure and that procedure, and it's just like this whirlwind. And sometimes you want to say, can I just stop and take a breath? And other times it's like, no, let's get this done. And so there's just a lot going on. And that vulnerability, we as adults are in control. We're pretty much in control of our life until we get a diagnosis. And we'll talk about what we can control and not control a little later. But that diagnosis does make us vulnerable. And then spiritual. Sometimes people might be impacted, their cancer diagnosis might impact them spiritually, and it really might question, what do you believe? What really matters to you, and you might have some of those philosophical conversations with yourself or others about, just what is the purpose of life, and why am I here, and why did this happen to me, or why did this happen to my loved one? So those are the three biggies that we see that the changes of cancer diagnosis affects. So we also have the universal challenges of cancer. The loss of control, the unwanted loneliness, especially those who have been diagnosed within the COVID pandemic. We have people diagnosed in 2020, 2021, 2022, and the world was shut down. And you're used to being able to go with a loved one to a doctor's appointment, and then the medical people are like, no, we have to keep you safe. You have to like not come in the building. And so the person with cancer is going in all alone. Where before you could have that support person in there just, to give you that little bit of a emotional support there. And then the loss of hope. Those are the universal challenges of cancer. So what are some common challenges and worries? So these statistics that are coming up on this slide actually come from the 2020 Cancer Experience Registry for patients and survivors. You know that cancer support community uses the definition of a survivor as the second you receive a cancer diagnosis, you're considered a survivor. That's from the National Cancer Institute. We use that language. But for this particular purpose, the Cancer Experience Registry, which is run through our headquarters Research and Training Institute, they use the terms patients and survivors. So the patient being a person who is currently in treatment, and then survivors, being in survivorship. But as you can see that some of these statistics of the different worries, some pretty high numbers in there. And then the next slide shows statistics from the 2020 Cancer Experience Registry for caregivers. So the Cancer Experience Registry has a general cancer registry, and then they have sub-registries, very specific categories in their registry. And those include different cancer diagnoses as well as caregiver. So as you can see that the caregiver has some high statistics in there about anxiety compared to the national average. And one of the statistics that's not up on this screen, and I have to figure out what it is. I have to go back and look at the latest report, because if I know that caregivers show a higher statistic of being stressed than the person living with cancer. I gotta memorize that statistic. I talk about it all the time, I just don't have it memorized. So you may have heard the roller coaster of the cancer experience, and that is so true.
So you find it out for just.
I'm just trying to get points.
I'm going to, if you are at home, and if you can mute yourself and then unmute after, if you have a question, that will just help the background noise a lot. Thank you for the people on Zoom. And so the roller coaster of the cancer experience, that is so true. Things are going great, and then you have this huge dip, and then things are going so great, and then you kind of dig yourself out of that, and then all of a sudden you're in a loop-de-loop, and it's just like, whoa, wait a minute. And so I think that this is an excellent example of the roller coaster of cancer experience, and that common worries are very normal reactions to that roller coaster. So living with uncertainty. What are, as the screen is loading here, for those of you who are survivors, what are some other worries that's not listed on the screen that you've been experiencing?
One that I have is, my oncologist said, well, you can stop if you need to, so if you need a break. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm afraid to take a break. I'm afraid, it's not going to work or something,
Sure.
So I'm always afraid of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though the doctor is saying this, the expert is saying this, it's like, wait a minute, what happens if I take a break? What's going on inside?
Yeah.
We don't want to go backwards from where we're at. Well, thank you for sharing. The caregivers have worries as well. And so for caregivers, what are some worries that you are experiencing that's not listed on the screen?
But just pretty much there.
Yeah. but just being, acknowledging that the care, the worries that you have as a survivor, the worries that you have as a caregiver are pretty common, that you're not alone. There's thousands of people going through this experience as well.
Especially the unexpectedly with little preparation.
Yeah,
It's same as a person, obviously, who gets the diagnosis, but all of a sudden, there's a lot of responsibility to being a caregiver.
yeah, absolutely. And sometimes that responsibility comes with little or no training. I was suddenly thrown into this, and I don't know anybody who, has cancer. There's no one in my family that does. Let me see if I can pull up the chat. I see the question in the chat. Yeah, Michael said, not knowing when to make positive plans, example, traveling. Yes, that's definitely also a worry because of, and if you're traveling, if you're, an extended period of time, it's like, what if something were to happen? What is especially if you want to, maybe travel overseas. Here, there's hospitals and facilities in all of the major cities. And if you're going to a small location, there's a major city, within driving distance. But if you're traveling over to Europe or Australia or other places, it's like, oh, what's going to happen? So yeah, Michael, that's definitely another worry. So we have two reflections today. This is our first one. And so just think about how have you coped with feelings of uncertainty or worry in the past? Doesn't have to be cancer specific. This could be graduating college. This could be getting a new job. Your car's on, I can relate to this one. Your car's on the last leg, and I'm like, I need it to last a couple more months before I can make another car payment. And so, think about the coping mechanisms that you've had that helped you cope with that feelings of uncertainty or worries. And if anybody has any coping mechanisms they want to share with the group.
I walk a lot,
Walking?
and I reflect while I'm walking,
Perfect.
That's good.
Yeah. Win-win situation, reflecting and thinking as you're
Just
walking.
exercising in general.
Yeah.
Get the endorphins flowing.
That's why I like you so much. I run a lot and I reflect
go.
while I'm running. So
That's right.
Loving on my dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Getting that fur baby loving in. And for those of us who don't have fur babies at home, if you have a friend, say, can I come over for a play date? Or don't you need to go away for the weekend? I'll stay at your house and take care of your fur babies.
I dog sit,
Or,
actually.
yep, dog sitting.
Yep.
So as you think about your past coping mechanisms that you have done, how can you apply those to your life now with your cancer journey? Running is still a good option. Walking is still a good option. Playing with your fur babies. So thinking of those skills that you have used in the past can apply, and you probably already are, apply to what you're facing in your life right now. See, I got another. And then Mike also shared, taking a pause before making any decisions on what to do to cope with the stress. No rash decisions. Yes, absolutely. Taking that pause, thinking about it, reflecting on it. I've actually gone so far as recommending people to come up with of course, now I can't think of the name of it, but it's pretty much a diagram of 4 squares. This is what's important. This is not. This is, I can't remember all the different.
What you can control and what you can't.
Yeah, and then helping that like a decision-making model type of thing. But I love that idea of just taking a pause, kind of reflecting on that before you make, so no rash decisions because of, you want to make sure as you're going forward that you're comfortable with that decision. You don't have to, right now. It's just like, wait a minute, I'm going to stop, take a break, think about this, breathe, and then I'll make my decision. And listening to music, yes, music is excellent. It definitely really impacts you. I once had a psychologist in a workshop I was attending said, your brain's like a little tape recorder. I'm showing my age here, but your brain's like a little tape recorder.
okay.
And so what comes in, it's recording that. And then at times, it will play back. It'll do a playback. And so when you're listening to music, it's very calming, but being aware of what music you're listening to. When I would do presentations in a previous job, I would say, be very careful about listening to country and Western music. I grew up on country and Western music, so I'm using that as an example, because you know what happens when you play country and Western music backwards? You get your truck back, you get your car back, you get your life back, you get your job back. I mean, some of that music out there can be very depressing. I'm like, I'm living in a cardboard box under a bridge. And so just, I love music, but just be aware of what you're listening to. Then we also have in here, yes, Ann, I believe that was called the Venn diagram. Thank you, because I could not remember what that diagram was called. And then, yes, I agree also, Michael, that meditation is very therapeutic. We actually, just this morning, had our mindfulness hour class by one of our licensed mental health professionals, Kevin. He does mindfulness hour the first and third Wednesdays of the month from 9 to 10, and it's just really a fabulous program. And meditation and mindfulness are great stress management. These are all fabulous ideas. Thank you guys all for your input.
And reading, just
I
reading.
loved, yeah.
And podcasts, if anybody enjoys podcasts. There's all kinds of podcasts out there,
Yes,
or whatever you're
Yeah.
looking for.
yeah, excellent. Thank you, Joyce. So we're going to move on to mental health and cancer. So these are the three biggies when you're thinking about mental health. We'll talk about each one of these topics a little bit more in depth, and we're going to start with distress. And this definition that I'm going to be reading is found from the Cancer Support Community's website, Emotional Distress. And it says, distress, a mix of anxiety and depressive symptoms, may cause sleeplessness, lack of appetite, trouble concentrating, and difficulty carrying on regular activities. Although some distress is normal, about a third of cancer patients experience significant distress. Only about 5% of those with cancer obtain psychological help. While distress doesn't affect the cancer itself, it does affect how patients cope with their cancer and their ability to follow treatment recommendations. So predictable stress points: the diagnosis, treatment decision-making, scan or anxiety, and cancer progression. Anxiety, so the stats that are on this slide come from the 2020 Cancer Experience Registry, frankly speaking about cancer fact sheets, feeling nervous or afraid. And so you can see that there's anxiety and fear are very common reactions. And I apologize, people here in the room, that bottom bar, I can't make it go away. I can slide it up so you can read the paragraph, but I can't make it go away. So I do apologize about that. And so, anxiety is definitely prevalent within the cancer journey, and that extreme or prolonged anxiety can lead to a more serious disorder that can really affect you. And then depression. Approximately 1/3 of cancer patients report a mood disorder at some point after diagnosis, with the first year after diagnosis posing the greatest risk. And between 10 to 20% of cancer patients continuing to report depression and anxiety after the initial stress of the diagnosis or recurrence. And so we have the depression is very prevalent and very common, and it does affect the men and women equally. further, more than half of cancer patients and survivors report fatigue as an ongoing issue. And a large number of survivors continue to also struggle with pain and isolation. And so that fatigue can just be brutal. You know, you just don't have the energy. You want to get out and you want to do things, but you just can't. You know, and of course they say, what's the best way to combat fatigue? Exercise. Like, I don't feel like doing it. I can't do it. I can't physically get off the couch. Thank you very much. But, you know, it's kind of like that kind of like weird thing, but they do recommend that.
And it's not just that you're tired, you're weak. There's a difference between just being tired
Yes.
and being weak, so, yeah.
Yeah, that fatigue, yeah, the weakness is just like, I really can't get off
I
the
can't
couch.
do that,
I just,
yeah.
you know, I can't
Can't
stand.
do that exercise.
Yeah. And, yeah, it's just like, you know, can we come up with another way of overcoming fatigue that doesn't include physical exercise that we physically can't do? But, you know, leaving this section with hope that depression is treatable. We, Cancer Support Community has licensed mental health professionals on our staff that are experienced in working with cancer patients. They work with caregivers and they work with the bereaved. And so we will pay for the first 6 sessions of counseling. And then after that, you can work with a therapist to switch to having your insurance billed or paying out of pocket. But people don't have to suffer with depression. It is definitely treatable. So the knowns and the unknowns. There are many what ifs when it comes to living with or supporting a loved one with cancer. Acknowledging the unknowns of cancer may make you feel anxious, angry, sad, or afraid. So I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about some things that's outside of our control. And these 4 things in this on the parameter are things that are outside of our control. We recognize that there's many situations you can control and those you cannot. And as hard as it sounds, many people find it helpful to let go of those things they cannot change and focus on their reaction to events. Focusing on what is out of your control just really leads to worry because you can't do anything about it. So focusing on what you can control. And so as you're, you know, as I mentioned earlier, you know, as adults, we like to be in control. We like to be independent. We like to make our own decisions. I didn't ask for this cancer diagnosis. I didn't ask for this mass to grow in my body. It's out of my control. So that diagnosis is like the first biggest loop that we're thrown for. You know, the treatment recommendations, you might get one, you might get several, but they're very limited to what's available for your specific cancer diagnosis. You know, there's some that there's only one treatment for, and there's some cancers that are uncurable. You're just going to maintain the rest of your life. So we don't really have any control over that. It's just what's available medically. Responses to those around me. You know, how do your loved ones, how do your friends, how do your neighbors, how do your coworkers treat you? We can't control anybody else. And then, of course, we can't control the future. But the things that we can control, you know, how I respond. Paul Harvey, again, I'm showing my age. But Paul Harvey, I believe, is the person who can be attributed to this quote. And if I'm wrong, please forgive me. But I'm going to forget what I was saying about it's not what happens to you, but it's how you respond to it. Now, that's kind of flying in the face of cancer because it is what happens to you, but it's also about how do you respond to that. So how you respond to your diagnosis for yourself and a loved one. You know, learning more about cancer treatment options. You know, if you are lucky enough to face multiple options, you know, really doing a research of saying what's going to be best for me. decisions about my actions today, I can control how I'm going to act, I can control how I'm going to, the decisions I'm going to make. And then, that communication. I'm a social worker, I'm all about talking. And so, communicating those feelings and needs are some things that you can control. So we're going to do a mindfulness activity here. And so I'm going to be leading through this process. And so I'm going to ask you, for those at home and here in the room, to find a position in which your body is comfortable. If that's sitting up, if that's putting your feet flat on the floor, having your hands on your lap or in front of you, whatever position is comfortable for you. Please close your eyes or look down at the floor, doing whatever you feel you need to do to feel comfortable. I'm not going to make you close your eyes if you're not comfortable, but just kind of gaze at the floor if that is something that you would like to do. Now take a few easy, slow breaths, and with each, trying to release any tension you notice in your body. So we can do a count of 3. So breathing in through your nose, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, in, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, in, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. Begin to notice your breath, feeling your stomach rise as you breathe in and lower as you breathe out. Notice the rhythm of your breath. It is only natural that your mind may begin to wander. As it does, gently remind yourself to return your focus on your breath. Stay in this moment, gently breathing, connecting with your breath. Allow yourself to feel whatever you are feeling and to be present with your current experience. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes. So that's just a very quick mindfulness practice, focusing on your breath. You can do different breathing techniques. What I did was the triangle, the breathe in by 3, hold by 3, out by 3, and just doing that. You can do the box, which is breathe in by 4, hold 4, out 4, hold 4. And so you just envision going around a square in a box with the breathing. You can do any kind of count hold on your breath and any kind of count hold on exhaling, but just finding that comfortable position and knowing that your mind's going to wander because, well, if your mind wanders like my mind wanders, just pulling it back and being judgment-free. If your mind were to wander, don't beat yourself up over it. Just say, okay, I'm going to let that thought go. I'll come back to that thought. It's like, oh, you got to make that phone call. I'll come back to that when I'm done, and just bring your mind back and trying to focus just on your breath. Because sometimes we got a lot of wheels going on up here. We got a lot of things going on and a lot of details. And it's just like, I got to take care of this and I got to do that and I got to go here and I got to make sure I'm here and I got to be here on time. And then sometimes it's just like, I'm just going to take 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And that's just a very quick mindfulness practice that you can do. Another recommendation that I love is guided imagery. If you've never done a guided imagery class, there's YouTube videos that you can check out. But I've done enough of them and led enough of them that I can close my eyes and I'm immediately on the beach. I smell the salt air, I feel the wind, I hear the palm trees, I hear the birds. You know, I can hear the waves coming up on the sand, I can envision the blue water and the white caps and the white sand glistening in the sun, and I'm immediately there. Yes, I'm stuck in traffic on 270 because there's an accident, or I'm actually on 70, there's an accident, nothing's going anywhere, but in my mind, I took a very quick break. And of course, behind the wheel of car is not a safe place to do that, but I was stuck. I mean, like, I wasn't moving for 5 minutes. I'm like, I could just breathe. Okay, so enough about me. So just thinking about those mindfulness really helps with, if you can, incorporating those into your life. So what's next? There is no right answer that will fit all people. For each person, the changes made or even the decisions not to make any changes will be a personal one. Yes, Michael, I agree. And that's the only way that we've seen a beach in quite a while, thanks to the pandemic. So yeah, and only in my mind, but hopefully we're going in the right direction and we get back there. But as we're looking at these things that are next, what are your plans? And as what's next for you may not even be up here on the screen, or there might be something up here. It's like, I really do want to start a new hobby. I really like that Crafters Corner thing they got going on over at Cancer Support Community. I think I'm going to come over to that. Sorry, I had to put up, that's a very, very shameless plug for our Crafters Corner program.
It's a good one, though.
But, thinking about, what is next, having goals and or setting priorities, if it's, spending more time with your family, having, what do you want to see in your life and where do you want to go in your journey? And just like everybody is unique and different, and their cancer diagnosis is unique and different, what their future plans will be unique and different to them. So if you find that you are extremely anxious about the future, reach out to a trusted friend, the clergy person, or a mental health professional. I've already mentioned about our counseling program that we offer here. Mental Health America also has licensed mental health professionals on staff. Our helpline, Cancer Support Community's helpline, I'll talk about that in a little bit in the presentation. But just reaching out to a licensed mental health professional. Talking with your oncologist or your oncologist nurse or your oncology social worker about your concerns. Some of your fears and concerns may be unfounded and can be cleared up through a better understanding of your cancer and its treatment. So if you are experiencing these two things, worrying most of the day for most days of the week, or if your worrying is getting in the way of doing things you need and want to do, that's under the definition of severe worry, and we really encourage you to reach out to a licensed mental health professional and talk with them about that. There's we mentioned earlier, worry is very common, but when you find that worry or that anxiousness is taking over your life, there's no reason that you would need to live like that. And just like depression, it can be treatable. So please don't suffer in silence. If you're experiencing these two things, definitely reach out. So we have another reflection. And what I'm going to be reading is called the Loving Kindness Meditation. So close your eyes. Sit comfortably with your feet on the floor and your spine straight. Relax your whole body. Keep your eyes closed throughout the whole visualization and bring your awareness inward. Without straining or concentrating, just relax and gently follow the instructions. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Breathe in for a count of 5. Breathe out for a count of 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Feel your belly rise on inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Feel your belly deflate, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue to do deep breathing. Keeping your eyes closed, think of a person close to you who loves you very much. It could be someone from the past or the present, someone still in life or who has passed. It could be a spiritual teacher or guide. Imagine that person standing on your right side, sending you their love. That person is sending you wishes for your safety, for your well-being, and happiness. Feel the warm wishes and love coming from that person towards you. Now bring to mind the same person or another person who cherishes you deeply. Imagine that person standing on your left side, sending you wishes for your wellness, for your health and happiness. Feel the kindness and warmth coming to you from that person. Now imagine you are surrounded by all sides by all people who love you and have loved you. Picture all your friends and loved ones surrounding you. They are standing, sending you wishes for your happiness, well-being, and health. Bask in the warm wishes and love coming from all sides. You are filled and overflowing with warmth and love. Now bring your awareness back to the person standing on your right side. Begin to send the love that you feel back to that person. You and that person are similar. Just like you, this person wishes to be happy. Sending all your love and warm wishes to that person. Repeat the following phrases silently. May you live with ease. May you be happy. May you be free from pain. May you live with ease. May you be happy. May you be free from pain. May you live with ease. May you be happy. May you be free from pain. Now focus your awareness on the person standing on your left side. Begin to direct the love within you to that person. Send all of your love and warmth to that person. That person and you are alike. Just like you, that person wishes to have a good life. Repeat the following phrases silently. Just as I wish to, may you be safe, may you be healthy, may you live with ease and happiness. Just as I wish to, may you be safe, may you be healthy, may you live with ease and happiness. Just as I wish to, may you be safe, may you be healthy, may you live with ease and happiness. Now picture another person that you love, perhaps a relative or a friend. This person, like you, wishes to have a happy life. Send warm wishes to that person. Repeat the following phrases silently. May your life be filled with happiness, health, and well-being. May your life be filled with happiness, health, and well-being. May your life be filled with happiness, health, and well-being. Now think of an acquaintance, someone you don't know very well, towards whom you do not have any particular feeling. You and this person are alike in your wish to have a good life. Send all your wishes for well-being to that person, repeating the following phrases silently. Just as I wish to, may you also live with ease and happiness. Just as I wish to, may you also live with ease and happiness. Just as I wish to, may you also live with ease and happiness. Now bring your mind to another acquaintance towards whom you feel neutral. It could be a neighbor, a colleague, or someone else that you see around but do not know very well. Like you, this person wishes to experience joy and well-being in their life. Send all your good wishes to that person, repeating the following phrases silently. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free from all pain. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free from all pain. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free from all pain. Now expand your awareness and pictures to the whole globe in front of you as a little ball. Send warm wishes to all living beings on the globe who, like you, want to be happy. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, happiness, and good health. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, happiness, and good health. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, happiness, and good health. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Another deep breath in and let it go. Notice the state of your mind and how you feel after this meditation. When you are ready, you may open your eyes. There's many meditation processes out there. There's many different scripts that you can follow. This one, the loving kindness meditation, which was recommended through this program, I just really like, and I've used it several times now. But you can do a letting go meditation or a self-care action plan activity. I like meditations, I like guided imagery, and so I chose this one, but you can research anything else that that you feel comfortable doing as a meditation. If you already have one in your life that you use, that's great. If you don't, and you would like some recommendations, I'd be happy to help that, or you can just do an internet search on meditations and a plethora will pop up. Thank you, Michael. Michael says happy tears.
Yeah, I can say in that one, I'm very fortunate to have a husband who is by my side and very supportive and my main caregiver, if you will. And as soon as you said picture that person on your right side, I almost started to tear up because I physically felt his
Presence.
felt
Right
his
there.
strength there. So
That's awesome. That's awesome when you can physically feel that,
Yeah.
because you know it's solid and he's there. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. So resources, we're going to spend the last couple minutes just talking about resources that Cancer Support Community has to offer for you. I mentioned it earlier, but we have a helpline. We have licensed mental health professionals who are employed by our, Lene sent you a heart, Sarah. Yeah, I haven't been pulling the chats up. I've been watching them on my phone because I get this little blue circle of, little blue circle says, I'm not letting you play. So I have that up on my phone, but she did send you a heart. So our helpline is staffed, employed by our headquarters. And I mentioned this in Newcomer Welcome also, that I'm very selfishly glad that this helpline number of the 888 is Eastern Standard Time. Because we have network partners across the country. And when I have to call Montana, and sometimes I do, I have to stop and do the math. I'm like, well, it's 9 o'clock here in Ohio. That means it's like 7 o'clock there. They're not going to be answering the phone. And so I'm very selfish that this is Eastern Standard Time. But these, the helpline is a fabulous resource. They can do short-term counseling over the phone. They can talk to you if you qualify for clinical trials. If you're traveling for treatment, they can help you find housing. If you have a financial burden, because let's face it, cancer is not cheap, they can help you find financial resources. They can do a distress screening tool over the phone with you, so just a fabulous resource. And then my Lifeline is a digital platform that has partnered with Cancer Support Community, and this is worldwide, again, because of this is through our headquarters, and it's an international organization. You can have access to a wider cancer community throughout the entire world. And My Lifeline has two components to it. They have a family and friends site that you create, and the only ones who get to see that are people you invite. So it's very private, just to you and the people that you have invited. And there's cyber walls and cybersecurity and all of that because it's from this international organization. The other half of My Lifeline are discussion boards, and I call them digital support groups because of it's digital. So you might wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and it's like, oh, I got this question, I just got to share this. You jump on, you get on one of the discussion boards, you post your comment or your question, and then people who are part of that discussion board respond, so they interact. And those discussion boards are monitored 24/7 by social workers from our headquarters. So you know that you always have access to a social worker as well. I've already explained about the Cancer Experience Registry. That is a community of people touched by cancer, and the focus of the registry is on collecting, analyzing, and sharing information about the experience and needs of patients and their families throughout the cancer journey. I want to say there's 16,000 people currently in the registry, and so we have a general cancer registry, and then as I mentioned earlier, we have subcategories. So there's one for breast cancer, one for lung cancer, one for prostate cancer, I believe, one for caregivers. And so the Cancer Experience Registry, about every 3 years, I could be wrong, it could be every 5, they'll actually generate a report, and that's what those statistics earlier in the presentation came from. Open to Options is a research-proven program that can help you prepare a list of questions to share with your doctor. And our specialists can help you create a written list of specific questions about your concerns for your doctor. And you can do that Open to Options here. Angie and I, my immediate supervisor, Angie Santangelo, and I have both been trained on that, but then the people on the helpline can do this as well. And so it's really a treatment options, helping you to determine what the best treatment plan is. Because you might have your oncologist, your radiation oncologist telling you one thing, and your surgeon oncologist is telling you something else, and your general oncologist is telling you a third thing. You trust all three of those doctors, but it's like, what's the best treatment for me? And so this very structured program will help you identify your priorities and what you want, and then the concerns and questions that you have, and then we generate a list of questions that you take, and it helps direct that conversation. The doctors who have participated in this said it's actually a beneficial program because they know where you're coming from versus that 5 minutes you have with them in the office. And then, frankly speaking, about cancer is our landmark education series that provides trusted information on a variety of topics important to people impacted by cancer. And that information is available through print and digital publications, online, and in-person programs such as today. That's what that shelving unit behind us underneath the clock is, frankly speaking, about cancer. And then you can always go to cancersupportcommunity.org, which is our headquarters website, and you can download or you can request documents, books, and handouts to be mailed to you at no cost. Everything we do is at no cost. Let's see what we got next. So this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. I think everybody on the call know who we are, but that's a general email. If you want to send an email to info@cancersupportohio.org, it goes to my president, CEO, and then she farms them out to the right people. And then, of course, our website of cancersupportohio.org, and then our phone number there. But if you want to reach me directly, it's the main phone number. I'm at extension 408. I also tell everybody I'm the only Darlene here. Huntingford is a fun name to pronounce, but I'm not going to subject anybody to that. So you can ask for Darlene, you can ask for the social worker, or you can ask for extension 408. Any of those three will get you to me. And of course, my email is first initial, last name, and I'm sorry for people having to spell that. I will warn you that a lot of people try to put a second N in there. They hear me say my name, Huntingford, and they hear Hunting Ford, but it's Honig So if you do Honing, it will not get to me. It'll be out in cyberspace somewhere. Or you'll get this very nasty message of undeliverable. Like, I really do exist. So I wish they would have done first name, last initial, because Darlene's so much easier to spell. But they're like, yeah, we can't do that. So, but that's how you can reach me by phone number or by email. So what questions do people have at this time? I'm going to pull up that.
I have a question.
There's your heart, Sarah.
I have a question.
Yes.
When I was diagnosed, and first they said I just had breast cancer. Then they called me 2 days later, and they said that it had spread, and because I was going to have surgery, and so I went to a surgeon. So from there, how do they know the best? I mean, I've asked my doctor this in a way, but how do they know what the best treatment to provide for you? And I mean, I'm on medication, and I get tests quite a bit.
Sure.
And I have other health issues, and I just want to make sure, that, because when we go back to, I don't know if it's uncertainty or, I can't remember the other ones. I have a daughter who's disabled, and I take care of her. And actually, I'm her caregiver. And really, I'm, doing pretty well when it comes to the cancer situation, but I worry so much about her.
Sure.
And what the future holds, because we don't have much family. We don't have any family in town, and I really don't have a good support system. That's why I decided to start looking around for support groups.
Good. Yeah, and I'm glad that you're here, Nancy, because of, you might not have family, but you definitely have community. And we can definitely be here to support you. And your question of how do they determine the best modality of treatment, I can give a guesstimate on that. Again, social worker, not medical background here, but I've heard that through just the research that they do, the different trials that's going on is how they determine what the best modality. Like when my dad was diagnosed with his cancer, they knew with what his specific lung cancer was, it was inoperable. They just knew right away that particular surgery was not an option for him because of the type that he had. They said as soon as air hit those cells, it would have just mushroomed out. And so he could only do chemo and radiation when he was in treatment. And so it's just the medical experience and the knowledge. But the best person, as you said, asking is talking to your doctor. Ask the doctor.
Yeah.
If you don't have an oncologist, social worker or a nurse navigator, find out from where you're getting your treatment at, if there's somebody like that on staff. OSU calls them something different. OSU calls them patient care resource manager, but Ohio Health and Zane Master call them patient navigators.
I do have somebody
Good.
that calls me once a month at least.
Yeah, and you have every right to give them a call and say, hey, I have a question. And if they can't answer that, they can research that and get that back to you. So I'm deferring back to the medical experts because I'm not an expert in that part.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't answer that question completely, Nancy.
Yeah, I worry about my daughter and so much, and I have a lot of anxiety issues.
Yeah, we can talk after the session about some of our programs that can help with that.
The discussion boards, how do you access those? Are those on the website?
Yes, if you go to Cancer Support Ohio, Cancer Support Community Central Ohio, under resources, education and resources, there's a drop-down box. And then when you click on resources, there's another drop-down box. Actually, I'm going to hide. I have the power. I can do this. Maybe I can't. I'll show you afterwards, but it is, it's right on our website, and it says sign up, and what they'll do is they'll ask you, they'll ask for your email address, and then they will send you a confirmation email. They're just verifying that your real live email and not a spam or bot or something. When I signed up, it was within 5 minutes, I got the answer back of saying, you're approved. I'm like, yay, let me go in and create an account, so. Yeah, it's very quick.
I'll let you show me that.
Yeah, I'll show that after we are done with the screen share. Any other questions that anybody has? Well, you're always welcome to reach out to me directly. If I'm not available, Angie, who is our clinical director, who is fabulous, is definitely here for you. And we greatly appreciate everybody joining us this afternoon. We will, for those on Zoom, we'll be looking for an email from me with the link for the Survey Monkey. And those of you here in person have a hard copy. So thank you, everyone, for giving me an hour of your day today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.